we're the ones that have to walk our path. There's no better person than yourself, and there's no better day than today. It sounds like a Hallmark card, but I mean it now. I'm really trying to live that.
This podcast encourages and empowers you to create your own unique real story, develop your own unique real statement, and discover your own unique real self. The power is yours. Good morning, James Higgins. Previously, episode 1982 of the 12-Minute Convos podcast. And then we got to reconnect, right? In Canada, live, face-to-face on the 23rd of July, 2018. So it's been a year, 5 months, 14 days since I last saw you. And when we did speak, we talked a lot about Selfling Teen, right? And what was going on there in Alberta. What's up, man? Like, what's new in your world?
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, lots has changed. I can't believe that it's been that long. It just seems like it'd be a little while ago, like last summer, but it's almost almost 2 full years.
Yeah.
Basically, Selfling Teen Support Foundation currently is kind of on a hiatus. We did have the mobile app running, trying to see what kind of traction we could get there for almost 2 years. And given a couple things that were going on, both kind of in the world and in tech itself, we were thinking that that's sort of the chat app for platform wasn't really the route that I wanted to take as far as trying to really help young people. So we kind of did decide to pack that one in. And I'll be honest with you, it is a ton of work trying to get this platform, a new platform up and running, especially young people have so many different platforms and icons in their screens that they've got taking their attention away. So just kind of at the point now where it's kind of on the back burner right now until I can come back at it with really fresh eyes as and some new ideas of what's happening in tech from and what lasting kind of technologies are available that could really help at-risk youth.
Well, that's important, isn't it? It's important
Exactly.
to be able to bob and weave, right? In the midst of things, understanding what works, what doesn't work is part of the journey, isn't it?
It is, absolutely. That's the that's kind of other parts of it. I actually, as of February 4th of this year, I'll be 1 year sober too. I actually entered
Wow.
some addictions therapy earlier last year to deal with some alcoholism, which as you can tell, I have no problem opening up about. I feel like it's one of my bigger achievements of recently. It's something that needed to be done for physical and mental health, and that's kind of another thing that I've been kind of trying to stay on top of too. So there's that.
So was that a 12-week program type thing?
It wasn't quite a 12-week program, but it definitely was. It was structured by the Alberta Health Services when I was still in Calgary in Alberta. And at first I was kind of freaked out about it. I'm not going to lie, because I was, they were saying, oh, okay, well, we start out with level 3 or level 4, whichever one it was, group therapy. And I was like, oh, no, we're not. No. Can't be doing that. But jumped in there, because I was like, what do you got to lose? I guess I just started on a trajectory where, I just needed to make that change. I've got other things that I'm trying to figure out, and as far as the mental health aspect, and having gotten rid of alcohol completely has been really helpful with that. And it's helped me to be a whole lot more level-headed as taking on a new business as we've moved to the next province over in British Columbia, and now doing something totally different in servicing kitchen equipment on the West Coast.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah.
So is it that sometimes in life that we can think, is it that like service can come across as beneath us?
I think we could kind of start telling ourselves that, yeah, and I think you get to a certain point where, at least I did. I feel like I got to a certain point where I was just I started to get get rid of some of the old hangups I had about things,
Because having group therapy is really giving yourself up to the service of others, which
Mhm.
it could be scary, right? Because when you believe you are able to control your path, then you're attempting to help others. But how much of life is understanding that you need to help yourself first before you can even help others? In fact, to help others, it seems as though it's required. Would you agree with that?
Wholeheartedly. Actually, I think you just squarely hit the nail on the head, my friend, because I think that just comes down to our nature as social beings and having a relationships. How do you have a relationship that's one way?
Hmm.
Like this conversation is going both ways. Even though you may be the host, you have a contribution here. Otherwise, like that doesn't become a conversation, right? And that's what I felt was. That's what I started to tell myself. Sitting in a room with these strangers who, at first I was scared for people to know what I was, the kind of things I got up to when I was drinking, and then I got to the point where I really shouldn't be here. I'm taking up this. I'm wasting this chair for somebody who really needs it. And
Hmm.
people, it sounded like they were in much more dire straits than I was. Which you go from the superiority to the inferiority, and now I'm taking up everyone's space. Right?
Hmm.
I think it doesn't take much to send you from one end to the other, but how often do you kind of just sit and go, you know what? I need this. This is for me.
Yeah, it's great. So, have you seen the impact, like what's going on from a mental side, the spiritual side, the career side, the physical side, even the family side? How have you seen all of this, your decision, impact that?
Well, I'll get like the salient point there is it was the mental that was the mental health portion was the big one. I was diagnosed with a adult ADHD, the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, which was I think was kind of an eye opener for me. But when I was drinking, medicine wasn't helping, you know, and I find that now it really is because of taking alcohol out of the equation.
Hmm.
And I also have version of depression. Actually, as far as I've been told, it was substance induced depression. But having cleared the alcohol out, that's not as big an issue anymore either. So, I find that I'm not as uptight. I'm not as sensitive about things. I found that, I was really quick to mood swings and things and having trouble focusing. So, as much as I did enjoy, I thought I was enjoying the drinking at the time. And I thought, oh, well, I've got it under control. I mean, at one point I was doing 3 to 5 drinks a night. That's
Mm.
not under control. And now I've got it like it's like I there's nothing about that was required. And now I'm more or less running a company. Yes, I said that Selfling is kind of on the back burner right now. It's not gone, but I my wife and I've moved. We're in our new tiny home on the Sunshine Coast. We've got a company that we're running. A book of business of longtime clients and stuff like that. And this is in a
Mm.
totally different area. And I feel like there's a real good honest shot here, and I don't have a lot of those anxieties that I had even just like 6 months ago.
Oh, well, that's great. Congratulations on that. And of course, I've heard, you're always one drink away, right? And I
Hmm.
think in life, it's a principle that we can apply. You're always one something away from being either the person that can be all you can be or not be all you can be. So
Hmm.
I'm glad that you've made that decision. I'd like to know though, like looking over the past and seeing the decisions that you've made, sometimes we can say, hey, that was a waste of time. Do you see it as a waste or do you see it as the building block, the fertilizer for your future?
Well, when you see when I look back and I see something as having been a waste of time or a building block, would you be referring to my time before recovery?
Well, I would say, like, I wouldn't put it to one thing because it's really challenging to say what was good and what
Mm.
was bad when you reframe the memory to understand that it's helped you to be who you are today.
Mm. Okay. Well, so Yeah, if we make it kind of an abstract thing, yeah, I think this is this. If I were to frame it on for a moment, just on the recovery part, I would think that as well as any other chapter in your life. Even that's what they say in trauma recovery as well. It's a terrible thing that happened to you specifically, but you look back several years after the fact, and you find that you've become this you know hopefully, with recovery and through support and things like that, you've become a different, stronger, more resilient person. And I think that it's actually happened with me through my recovery, and it's not something that stops. It will go on for the rest of my life. But I do think that in retrospect, yeah, I think part of me had to go through that and experience it the way I did to get to where I am the way I am now.
Well, I'm grateful, my friend, that one, I got to meet you face to face. Two, that I'm hearing what I'm hearing in terms of the decisions you've made. And three, that I'll get to check back in again, right? And that's where you say, yes, you can, right? Or no, you can't.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Just to check in to see how things are going and how things have evolved, because BC is a beautiful place. And yeah, the horizon is bright. So I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing your journey, updating us, James. In closing, is there anything else you'd like to share with our amazing audience?
Nothing more than we're the ones that have to walk our path. Get out. There's no better person than yourself, and there's no better day than today. It sounds like a Hallmark card, but I mean it now. I'm really trying to live that. I thank you so much for reaching out again, as I said, and it's always a wonderful opportunity to talk with you, man.
I appreciate that. Definitely a pleasure. I treasure. James Higgins, thank you for being on What is Inspired by 12-Minute Convos with Angel Jones. This podcast is produced by Pod Edits. Visit podedits.com for professional podcast publishing.